Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We have a decent sized group signed up for today's webinar, so we're just going to give everyone a minute or two here to get signed on before we get started. So we will begin shortly. Thank you. All right, well, we will go ahead and get started this morning just to make sure we have plenty of time to answer any questions you guys may have. So thank you for joining us for the webinar Advertising with Google Ads with Scott Clanin of Clanin Marketing. Just a few quick things before I hand it over to Scott, and I'm sure you guys have all heard this spiel if you've been in our webinars before, but you are welcome to ask questions. We just ask that you submit those via the chat box and we will cover them once Scott is done with his presentation. And you'll also receive a follow-up email later this afternoon that will include a recording of today's presentation, along with a link to download a copy of Scott's presentation from the Clanin Marketing website. We also have a wide variety of community partners helping us support today's session, and I'll include links to all of their websites in that follow-up email so you can check out their organizations as well. As a reminder, our website is still under construction, but it is almost done, so fingers crossed here shortly. But we do have a great lineup scheduled with Scott for the first quarter of 2024, and those can all be found on the Clanin Marketing website as well. So if you'd like to join us for any of our additional no-cost sessions, you can find those there. And then all of our in-house sessions offered by our SBDC director, Madeline Walski, can be found on our Facebook page for the time being. So I'll include all of that information in that email as well. So at this time, I'll hand it over to Scott and we'll get started.
Excellent. Thank you, Jordan, and good morning. Thank you for joining us for our first webinar of 2024. We're excited to be with you today. I'll be sharing my screen, so one moment while I pull that up. All right, Jordan, just confirm, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. As always, we want to thank the SBDC and all of our incredible local community partners for making this webinar today and the other webinars in our series possible. These are all free to attend. So if you haven't checked out our website at claninmarketing.com/workshops, I'll bring up the URL here in a second. Jordan and I have been working over the past couple months to develop a series for the first quarter. So we have some great webinars coming up. And more will be released as the year goes on. So today we're talking all about advertising with Google Ads, and that's one of my favorite advertising platforms available today. We're going to go through all the benefits with you, but before we get started, I also have a couple of housekeeping items. If you'd like a copy of today's presentation, you can go to claninmarketing.com/workshops. Just scroll about midway through the page and you're going to see a For Attendees section. Just fill in your name and email. And again, you'll get a PDF copy of today's presentation. At the top of this page, you're going to see all the other upcoming webinars that we have in partnership with the SBDC. Again, these are all free to attend. Most of these, I think with the exception of one, are all conducted over Zoom. One of them we're doing in person at the Champaign Public Library, their main branch, near downtown Champaign, and that's going to be going over all about it's all about Instagram Reels. So if you've struggled with Instagram Reels and not sure how to create certain videos, add music and clip, edit videos, we're going over that in person. But all the other ones will be over Zoom. As Jordan mentioned, my name is Scott. I'm the owner of Clanin Marketing. We're a full-service marketing creative agency based in downtown Champaign, and we serve clients all across the Midwest. We do everything from branding, website design, digital marketing consultations, and more. And so our company started in the space of digital. We started specifically when Facebook for Business was very, very new, back in the Wild West of digital marketing days. And so much has rolled out since then, and we've seen a lot change, a lot evolve. Even after the pandemic, so much online has changed in terms of advertising opportunities for businesses. But one of them, in kind of my personal favorite list, is Google Ads, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. And again, I want to share all the incredible benefits this very powerful tool can provide you and your business or organization. So Google has a variety of different platforms and tools available to you as a business owner. And one of them being Google Ads. We've talked about Google Business Manager. That's your verified listing on Google. We've talked in other webinars how to rank higher on Google search results. And I think that's what everyone wants to do, is rank higher on Google. But one thing I wanted to mention when it comes to ranking higher, and this is just a common misconception, to rank higher on Google, a lot of people think, gosh, I get all these phone calls all the time from people saying they're with this partner company and they want to charge me this to help me rank higher on Google. There's a difference between organic rank and paid rank. SEO, search engine optimization, and SEM, search engine marketing. Today, we're talking mainly about search engine marketing. This is where you're paying money, you're willing to pay money, for your ad to show up at the very top of Google search results, or a display ad on third-party, maybe article-based sites. SEO, search engine optimization, is your rank below the areas where they show the ads at the top. I'm going to have some screenshots. We'll put it all into perspective here in a second. But your SEO, search engine optimization, that is all about how your website is designed. Do you have keywords on your website, loading correctly? There's so much that goes into SEO. Certainly keep an eye out for a future SEO webinar later on in 2024. But today is all about search engine marketing, right? So these are those ad placements right at the very top of your Google search ad results. So this is what's called Google Ads, previously known as Google AdWords. So if you've heard of Google AdWords, they rebranded and now it's just Google Ads. Before you begin, it's really important to have a few things in place before you launch any type of paid campaign. And this is true for either traditional forms of marketing, paid campaign wise, or digital, what we're talking about today with Google Ads. You want to make sure you have your branding in place, right? So what's your brand language, your brand tone, your brand copy that you use? That's going to help you write these ads. When you land on your website, is it a well-performing site? Is it consistent with maybe your other branded items that you have, your social media, your print materials? You want to make sure you have your brand established and in place before you start paying anything. Next, you want to understand who is your audience. If you've been on any of my webinars in the past, welcome back. And you know that one of my key things that we always talk about is you really need to understand who you're marketing to. Successful marketing is all about having the right message at the right time that gets in front of the right person. So it's really important to understand who you want to talk to. And it's okay to have different buckets of audiences. Google Ads, and we're going to go over this, is structured to run different types of almost mini campaigns all in one account. So if you offer this service and it's, your main audience is, or product or service, and your main audience is women between the ages of 30 and 50 who are interested in this, great, let's target them. But if you offer this other product that's men between the ages of 18 and 30, it's a whole nother kind of campaign, what we call an ad group. So it's really important to understand whether it's Google Ads or any type of advertising you're doing online, could be social media as well. Who do you want to target? Third, you want to make sure that you have a good website, because when you run a Google ad campaign, you are sending people to your website. Take some time to go through each page. Put yourself in the shoes of that buyer persona, right? Put yourselves in the shoes of a male between the ages of 18 and 30, a woman between the ages of 30 and 50, right? Go through the website. Does it function well on desktop? Does it function well on mobile? Do you have good keywords? You know, if I click an ad that says I'm interested in running shoes, and I land on a page that is just maybe littered with hiking shoes and sandals and maybe some running shoes on there, it's not as relevant as if I was to land on a page just about running shoes. And again, we're going to go over some examples here in a bit, but you want to make sure that your website's in place, because I've audited a variety of Google ad accounts over the years where their ads are performing extremely well, but on the website, nothing's happening. And then when you start uncovering things with the website, we see that while yes, the ads are performing well, by the time they land on the website, they're what we call bouncing off. They have very, very high bounce rate, and you don't want that. So just make sure that you really go through your website. It speaks to your audience, it functions well, it's laid out well, and the user can navigate through it very nicely. And then finally, what's your overall goal and objective? You know, when they click the ad, what do you want them to do? Are you really just looking to increase phone calls? Great. Let's do a call-based ad. Where do you want to send people to your website? You know, a lot of times people think, oh, let's just send them to my homepage and they can figure it out from there. But Google Ads offers something called extensions. So if you have very important pages on your site, right, that it could be relevant to different buyer personas, different audiences, maybe let's add different extensions that basically point people to a very specific landing page on your website. So again, 4 quick things to think about before you begin. And again, this is really going to help set yourself up for success as you dive into your Google ad campaign. So Google Ads, there's a variety of different types of Google Ads that you can run. The 2 that we're focusing on today are the 2 most popular ones: search ads and display ads. There's also video ads. So if you're interested in running ads, you know, that you see those 15, 30-second clips before like a YouTube video or midway through a YouTube video that most of us can't wait to skip through. Those are video ads through Google, and that's how you manage those. And then there are app ads. We typically don't talk, we personally, our company doesn't have a ton of experience in app marketing or app ads, simply because the market that we have around here, very few of us have custom apps that we've developed and put on the Apple Marketplace or Android App Store. So, but the 2 we want to focus on, and again, the 2 most popular that I would say 70, 80% of Google's business are between Google search ads and Google display ads. So Google search ads are triggered by a proactive search. Users are proactively looking for links related to your services and products. This is why I love Google Ads. When you run an ad on Facebook, okay, you are trying to get in front of someone who may have an interest in what you have to offer. Okay, so when you boost a post on Facebook, or when you run a campaign on Facebook, you say, okay, I want to target these people who are engaged, who may be looking for a wedding photographer. Perfect. But again, they're not actively searching. They're just logged onto Facebook, scrolling through, and they're not in that mindset of I am wanting to look for a photographer. But if that couple that is engaged goes over to Google and types in wedding photographer, I would think any wedding photographer in the area is going to want to show up, and they're probably going to be willing to pay a little bit to show up. And that could be as little as 70 cents a click, $1.50 a click, sometimes $3, $4, $5, $6 a click. Depends on competition and how much you're willing to spend. But for the most part, it's very inexpensive. That's what I love about search ads, is that you have someone who's actively searching for your product. How do we get in front of them? The second one is a display ad. These are visual ads. So think of like just an ad in a newspaper, an ad that you see on a website in the corner, those square or banner ads. Those are display ads. Those are ads that you create within Google, or you can create in a design program, or if you have a graphic designer in-house that can help you. You create ads in different sizes. Google places those on third-party sites across the internet. Search ads to me are my personal favorite, because again, we want to get in front of someone when they are in that active proactive search mindset. But again, those are the two that we're going to be focusing on today. What I love about Google is that you can reach anyone within just a certain city, a certain county, all through the entire globe. You're in complete control of the settings. There's no long-term commitment at all with Google. You can start, stop, pause at any point, which is great. The beauty of digital is that in real time, you can see how your ads are performing. So if you aren't getting a whole lot of clicks, if you're spending a crazy amount of money per click, you know, maybe pause for a moment and reevaluate the ad copy, reevaluate some of your settings. But what I love about it is that you have access to your metrics at any point in time. You can put some ads to the test. You can maybe run a couple different variations. Google allows you to add in a variety of like ad headline copy options and description copy options. So you say, Google, here's a whole bunch of different headlines. Here's a whole bunch of different descriptions. You make the ad. And then Google will switch those out depending on what that user's searching for, which is really cool. I'm going to show you how to do that. And again, you're in control of your budget. Something to keep in mind, and we'll kind of go over budget too, is to really look at budget as from a 30-day point of view, from a whole month point of view, right? And so let's say if we have, oh gosh, $350 divided by 30, that's about $11, $12 per day that you're spending, okay? And then if we average, let's just say an average $1.10 per click, yeah, that you're getting just under 11 clicks per day. And so again, there's no magic number when it comes to budget. That's a question I get asked a lot too. But at the same time, you don't want to go in only wanting to spend maybe $50, $75, $85 a month. Like you just won't get anything from that because you might get a couple clicks and then all of a sudden your ads won't be shown anymore. There's no cost for Google to actually put your ad up at the top. For a lot of us, when we set up a Google ad campaign, we want to do a cost per click campaign, a CPC, meaning you only pay when someone clicks that ad. And it's really funny because even this morning I was doing some Googling and I saw someone's search ad at the very top and I clicked it and I thought, oh gosh, I just charged them a little bit of money from their account. But that's what they want. They want their ad to come up. Okay, so let's take some time to look through Google Search Ads. Again, this is my favorite one. This is the platform that we use a lot for our clients, and we've seen some great success with this. So going back to my previous conversation with Google Ads or an organic search ads, on the right-hand side is a simple visual. So when you go to Google, you type in your search query, what comes up at the very top, a lot of times it says ad right next to it. The first maybe 2 or 3 that come up are coming from Google Ads, okay? And then below it, once you get past those ads, then it's organic. This is all dependent on how well your website is performed. So really what we're focusing on today is everything in that yellow, those top spots in Google. So again, with Google search, you put in keywords into Google. Keywords, certain phrases. I'm going to give you some examples of ways to what match types to give Google. And again, if someone types in handmade pottery, here's an example, Paul's Pottery, fine handmade ceramics, it says add there, beautiful vases, bowls, and more. Shop in our gallery or online. You have, if I click that blue link there, that would take me to the website or whatever landing page the advertiser set. And then in this case, they did want to put a call button on here. That's kind of interesting to me. I don't know if I would put a call button on this ad. Maybe if they were doing like classes and that's the main way to register is to call, that would make sense. But again, you're targeting people at the end of the day by a certain phrase or keyword. It shows in a variety of different ways, whether you're on a tablet, on a mobile device, or on a desktop, which is great. And again, you have a variety of options when it comes to ad extensions. Okay, so this is an actual screenshot on the back end of your Google Ad account. This is a real client of ours. It's a physical therapy clinic that has a variety of different clinics across the state. And this is one in Iowa that we assisted with some of their Google ads. When you're writing an ad, back in the day, if you maybe dabbled in Google Ads, formerly known as Google AdWords, you kind of had to write different ads, and then Google will display those ads. Now, you give Google a variety of different headline options. And you can have up to 15 different headline options. This one's only 3, but I'm pretty sure there's now 15 different headline options and then 4 description options. What's really nice on the back end of Google is that it will give you a little strength indicator. So as you start adding in different keywords and phrases and titles, that little indicator will tell you, hey, this is looking good. You want to make sure that you're incorporating keywords into your headline. If you're a local business and you really want to lean into you being local, definitely put the location within your headline. What's really nice is that because there are a variety of different options, okay? And this was I'll give a quick example. I think we have another slide coming up on this. We were helping a resort, like a wellness resort in Puerto Rico with some of their Google ads. And they had Puerto Rico as one of the headlines, as they should, right? It has that location in there. And other headlines were like wellness retreat, yoga, like all the other kind of services that they offer, all-inclusive, meal planning, team building, corporate retreats, etc. Those were all the different headlines, including Puerto Rico. Well, depending on what the user's searching for, Google is placing all these headlines into 3 different positions. So if you look at the ad on the right-hand side, we have advanced physical therapy. That is in position 1. Regain mobility and strength, that's position 2. And Bittendorf, Iowa Clinic, that's in position 3. Okay, so these just rotate between 3 positions of all the different options that you could Google. What we found was there are times when that 3rd position or any position may not even mention Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico wasn't even mentioned at times, not every time, but at times in the ad itself. So by the time someone clicked the ad, visited the website, we found out then the website didn't mention Puerto Rico until the footer. So there was a chance that when someone was clicking the ad and visiting the website, they didn't realize that this was in Puerto Rico until maybe at the very, 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 very bottom of the website. That's something we want to avoid. So when you're adding in your headlines, you'll see, and it's a little harder in a PowerPoint to obviously show this in real time, you're going to see a little thumbtack icon next to your headline. Click the thumbtack and then you can pin that headline in a certain position. So if you always want your name in the title, if you always want your location in the title, pin it into a location and then Google will just rotate out the other 2 positions. So that's a little tip that we have that we always look for when we're looking at Google Ad accounts. You'll see in this screenshot here, all the different headlines. We talked about that little strength indicator. This is actually shown in this screenshot here. It's hitting an average and it wants us to make our headlines more unique. What I love about Google is that Google wants you to be successful, excuse me, on this platform. So they're going to give you some ideas. They're going to give you some tips on how to strengthen, your overall Google ads. Sorry, my voice is going up there. Okay, so on this screenshot here, it is showing you where you want to take someone to, so what page of the website, what your display URL is. This is a little strange because your display URL is not actually the final URL. This is just what shows up on Google. And so if I look at this, on the right-hand side, that ad, advrehab.com, Moline Clinic. Okay. As the user looking at this, I know this is probably going to take me to a page all about the Moline Clinic. But the URL is actually up at the top. So this is the URL that you're taking someone to. Again, Google wants to help you. So as you add in keywords to your account, Google says for optimal ad performance, include these keywords into your headline. So don't be nervous if you're like, I don't know where to start. Google's going to help you. You'll see in this case, we pinned advanced rehab to position 2 in this particular ad. So on the right-hand side where it says preview, advanced rehab is in position 2. Here's all the different headlines you have. And then again, you only have about 4 description options, about 30 characters-ish for, yeah, I think it's still about 30 characters for headline, 90 characters for description. I do recommend when you're typing out your description, you want to put just capitalize about every word in there. You don't want to put all caps in a description. You don't want to put exclamation points in a description. There are certain little rules that Google has us adhere to when we're writing certain ads. And what's nice too is that if you're needing ideas, if you look next to descriptions at the bottom, it says view ideas. Again, Google will give you some more ideas. At the end of the day, pretty easy. This is just really you're just writing one ad, but you're providing Google with a whole bunch of different options that they're going to cycle through. On the right-hand side where it says preview, what's really cool with this is that it rotates. This actually rotates in and out. So you see that little pause button and a play button. If you click that, you'll start seeing that Google in real time will start rotating the ad in cycling through your different headlines and your different descriptions that you're adding in. Okay, when you are adding keywords into your account, you can add anything from just one word or just a few words together that makes a little mini phrase. So in this case, for going back to that example of a retreat or that retreat in Puerto Rico, they want to hit a variety of different keywords. So retreat facility, wellness retreats near me, all-inclusive wellness resorts, etc. Okay, very easy. And then the match type, it's called broad match. And you may be thinking, what is that? I have a whole screen, I think, after this that shows the different match types. I'm going to give you some recommendations on that. But what's really nice when it comes to keywords is that you can see on the back end of Google what people are actually searching for. We were working with a local therapy clinic, and they were seeing, okay, we're showing up when people are searching for therapy within Champaign County. That's great. But because of their match type, excuse me, they were showing up when people were searching for a variety of different therapy within Champaign County. So some people were searching for Christian therapy counseling services. And there are certainly other therapy clinics in the area that offer Christian-based therapy, but this clinic specifically did not. And so how do we avoid that, right? It's like, yes, we show up because someone's searching for therapy services, Champaign, we're getting close, but we don't want to show up when someone's searching for maybe Christian-based therapy. Other example, when before I started my company, I worked in property development, and we ran ads for student housing. And we offered apartments that were all furnished. So it came with everything, all the furniture. And so when you're searching for apartments, and we wanted to target people who are searching for like 2-bedroom apartments near campus, Champaign-Urbana, Savoy, there was a chance that we were showing up when people were searching for unfurnished 2-bedroom apartments near campus in Champaign-Urbana, Savoy. So there is a way, and you'll see a tab on the back end of your Google Ad account, that you can add what's called negative keywords. You don't want to show up when someone is searching for all of these keywords that I want to add. So it helps stretch your dollar a little bit. It helps weed out some people that, okay, when they land on the website, they realize, they only offer furnished apartments. Why am I on this website? They leave. It's not a quality buyer, right? There's a very low chance that they're probably actually going to convert. You want to add that as a negative keyword, okay? So there are different match types when it comes to adding keywords to your Google Ad account. Broad match is exactly what it says. It's very broad. So ads may show on searches that relate to your keyword. So if I type in, let's say home decor, gosh, you could show up, someone could also search in cream colored leather sectional, and that would also show up, right? And so if your keyword is furniture store at the top. So for the keyword furniture store, you could show up for home decor, you could show up for cream colored leather sectional, It's very, very broad, but it's somewhat in the world of furniture stores. Phrase match would be maybe a little bit better. So if someone's searching for cheap furniture stores, living room furniture deals, what store is the best place to find a bedroom dresser? This is where you start getting a little closer. So in this case, when you're adding in your keyword, when it's broad match, you're just going to type in your keyword. But if you want a phrase match, you're going to put quotations at the front and at the end of that keyword or that phrase, and then that makes it a phrase match. There's also, there's also something called exact match. And so if you only want to show up for someone searching for exactly what that keyword is, so furniture store, and I want to show up when someone's searching for a furniture store, or they get you somewhat close, home furnishing shop, you're going to put that keyword into those brackets. I recommend more broad match and phrase match. Exact match, you're really cornering yourself a bit more. You may not get as many clicks over, but the quick example I'll give you with that we found with that retreat in Puerto Rico is everything was broad match. So if one of their keywords that they added in was all-inclusive like wellness retreat in the Caribbean, okay, and that's broad match. If someone typed in wellness retreats in Jamaica, there's a chance their ad was going to show up. But it's like, we're not located in Jamaica, we're in Puerto Rico. But your broad match had the word Caribbean. So Google thinks, okay, this is close enough. It's broad match. We're going to show your ad. But again, think about it on the user's end. If someone's looking for a wellness retreat in Jamaica, are they going to be interested in a wellness retreat in Puerto Rico? So we recommended to do a phrase match for phrase match wellness retreat in the Caribbean. So then someone is searching for a Caribbean as a whole, we want that ad to show up, but we don't really want to show up if someone's searching for a very specific location, if that makes sense. So again, broad match, phrase match, the two I recommend. There's also exact match as well. You have a variety of Google Ad extensions. These are almost like quick links, if you will, underneath your Google Ad. So this is an example of Pizza Hut. So Pizza Hut has this ad for marketing the flavor dippers there. And then underneath the ad, you have 4 different what we're calling ad extensions. The same thing that Retreat Center did as well. They had different ad extensions. They had one for just team building, create your own treat, contact us, right? These are quick links that point people to a certain page on your website. You can kind of see what Pizza Hut did, order online, free cheese sticks, etc. I will say on this slide here, when you scroll to the bottom of this page, you're going to see a section that says add extensions, and that's where you go in and add whatever ad extensions that you want. That would make sense for your ad there at the bottom. At the end of the day, Google's really going to help walk you through this. And what we just reviewed is the main Google ad platform. If you want to just dip your toes in the world of Google Ads, I'm going to give you an idea that a recommendation towards the tail end to maybe start with that platform and move over to the big platform. But if you're up for it, I recommend just going right into Google Ads and setting up your account, because Google will, again, hold your hand through the process. It does take, like with any new program, it takes a little bit to understand where everything is on the back end, but eventually you'll find it, and then you can really start looking at all of your metrics. Okay, just want to make sure we have enough time to go through Google Display, metrics, and then that last recommendation. Let's talk about Google Display. So that was all Google Search. Those are your ads that show up at the very top based on keyword, phrase that someone's searching for. Now we want to look at Google Display. So for this is now a visual ad. This is not a text-based ad. Of course, there's maybe copy within the ad itself, but this is, again, almost like a picture ad. Could be a banner, could be a square. You want to reach users who maybe by keywords or topics. Maybe you want to specifically say, hey, I want to reach specific web pages online. I want to be on Oprah's website and put our ad on her website. There are ways to do that. Of course, all come at a different cost, but there are ways to do that. or you can find users who are already interested in what you have to offer. Now, today's kind of an entry-level Google Ad webinar, but I do want to mention this for those on the call who maybe are a little more tech savvy and want to really dive into the world of Google. We've all seen those ads that follow you, right? These are ads that you land on a website, a couple days later, you see an ad for that product. These are called retargeting, or sometimes called remarketing campaigns, okay? This is a line of code that's installed on your website. And when someone lands on your website, it places that user into kind of a bucket. And you can run an ad to that person who's been to your website over the past 30, 60, 90 days. What's really nice is that, for a lot of us, I think we go to a website just to explore and to research. Very rarely do we maybe make a purchase the first time we're there. And we leave and we conduct our research further. So these ads are a great way to pull people back in. And these are those visual ads that, again, could show up anywhere on the internet. And it's because Google is following you. This is where Google has gotten into some trouble before with privacy concerns. But again, this is all technical. I mean, it's all fair game, right? When you're using the internet, when you're using Google's products, you're kind of opting in just the same as any social media account. It's free to use, but really you're being tracked for marketing purposes. This is an example from the News Gazette. You can see at the very top, there's an ad for the Volkswagen Jetta. Volkswagen did not call the News Gazette and say, hey, we want to market our Jetta on the News Gazette website. They just simply went through Google Display. And so when you're running ads on Google Display, you can say, hey, we want to market people who are music lovers, who are pet lovers. So tell us more about that audience. That's why earlier I mentioned it's really important to understand who you want to market to, because Google has so many different options available to you when it comes to targeting. There's a variety of different goals when it comes to Google Display ads. You can increase web traffic or online purchases. Maybe you want to increase store visits. So for those on the call who have a brick and mortar store, you really want to promote your location. Maybe you want to drive calls and messaging. Again, grow your app if you happen to have an app. There's a variety of different options available to you when it asks for what do you want to achieve when you're running a Google Display ad. Now, some of you may be wondering, okay, I don't know what keywords to use. When I'm setting up a Google Display ad and it's asking me what website should I be marketing towards or what keywords should I be adding into my Google search ads, what do I put? Google has something called a Google Keyword Planner that could certainly help you and conduct some research on, okay, do people search for this phrase or do they search for this phrase? Google Trends is another one that I recommend looking into that's been very helpful, where sometimes we'll have a client say, well, this is what I call it all the time, but I don't know what maybe people are actually searching for. So between the Google Keyword Planner and then, of course, Google Trends, you can look at average monthly searches, how popular certain keywords or phrases are. So there's some tools at your fingertips to help you plan ahead of time. Okay, so I know there's a lot of text. I personally don't like PowerPoints with a ton of text, but this is more for reference for later. But just to kind of summarize Google Display campaign, Google Search Ad campaign bidding, right? We talked a little bit about bidding earlier, but tell me more about bidding. I recommend anytime you're running a campaign, of course, depending on your goal, but most of the time, people want to do a CPC bidding. That's cost per click. You only pay when someone actually clicks the ad of your site. If you think of like a billboard campaign or an ad that you run in a print newspaper, they charge you for what's called the impressions, the number of times someone sees that billboard, sees the ad. And they do that by, for billboards, it's traffic counts. How many cars per day? For newspaper, it's circulation count. How many people subscribe to our newspaper? And then you pay for your ad being shown. On Google, you pay when someone clicks the ad. I mean, how incredible is that? Again, you have an active buyer, or you have someone for Google Display on a website that may be of interest to the user. The example I have for Google Display is when I moved into my new home, I was looking for a new pots and pan set for my new kitchen. And so I was reading these articles of like the top 5 Consumer Report type things, like top 5 pots and pan sets for the year. Well, then off on the right-hand side, there is a display ad for Calphalon pots and pans. So how did it know that, right? It knew that because it knew that that page was all about pots and pans. It knew that I was searching for, I had an interest in pots and pans. And so that's where you're targeting your ad based on interest. So a little example there. There's different bidding types when you go in to Google. And a lot of times next to the bidding type, Google will say recommended. Just go with what's recommended, which is automated bidding. So you're basically saying, Google, I have this monthly budget or this daily budget, and I don't want to go past this. And then Google will take it from there and do kind of automated bidding for you to stay within that budget. So if you see any type of setting on the back end that says recommended, go with that. But for those on the call that, well, maybe I just really want to get the word out about something. You know, a billboard campaign or a newspaper campaign, impression-based campaign isn't bad. So if you have a grand opening coming up, if you have, a new business, a big sale going on, you really just need to get the word out there. That's an impression-based campaign. So for that, what you're doing is that you pay for every 1,000 times your ad is shown. So there's impressions versus click. So again, if you're mostly interested in getting your name or logo in front of lots of people, this is a smart option. But if you really want to be strategic in terms of, well, I want them to go to my website, maybe make a purchase. I want to be very strategic with my ad spend. Cost per click could be very beneficial. And then there's something called conversions. Very similar to that remarketing, retargeting. This is a little advanced, but I want to at least mention it in here. So if you do download this PDF for later and refer back to it, or if you do some research on your own, because there's, of course, only so much we can cover in the 45 minutes that we're together today, there is another option called conversions. This is where I definitely recommend working with a consultant, working with an ad developer, that's someone that knows Google Ads well. But what this is you can set up like an event tracking or conversion tracking on the back end of your Google Ad account. So if you run an ad and someone clicks the ad, they visit your website and then they put something in their cart and then they check out, Google is going to count that as a conversion, and it will tell you this converted customer cost you this amount of this amount of money per conversion. So cost per conversion. You could just pay when someone converts. It's expensive, but there are ways to do that. And so at the end of the day, what's kind of creepy is that we're just being tracked left and right anytime we use the internet. And because there's all these tracking codes on here. But if you are like an e-commerce store, you're looking to increase sales, you are wanting to run a Google ad, and you really want to connect the metric bridge, right? Connect the metric dots there and see how much you're spending every time you acquire a new customer, sell a product because of Google Ads, you could focus on conversions. And the last thing I'll mention, what's really cool with Google is that Google will remember that person. And so if I visit your website and I originally click your website from a Google ad, and then I leave your website, I don't do anything, do my research, I come back at a later point, go to your website and then buy something or do some sort of conversion, watch a video, whatever you want that conversion to be, it will still remember that I originally came to your website from your Google ad campaign, which is really cool. Google, of course, is available to help. What's really great compared to other social media accounts is that I can actually get someone from Google on the phone. It's crazy. And so if you're really needing help with Google, they can help you create a campaign. They can help you walk you through certain things because, again, they want you to be successful on this. Okay, we have about 15 minutes left. I want to spend the next about 10 minutes or so going over metrics because this is very, very important. Of course, you can spend all day adding keywords and creating really fun visual display ads and spending some money on Google, but what's actually happening here? So this is a screenshot for a chauffeur service that we worked on. And they have a variety of different what we call ad groups. So you have one like ad campaign, and then you have different ad groups. So let's say if you like Nike, for example, Nike offers shoes, but they also offer like a lot of apparel, whether that's workout apparel or just this kind of like athletic leisure apparel. So they could have one kind of campaign promoting Nike, but your different ad groups are promoting different things. So one ad group could just be about shoes. One ad group could be about workout apparel. Same thing with the chauffeur service. They offer different services. So we wanted one ad group that was all about airport service, one that was all about private for hire service or chauffeur service, right? So we separated these ad groups out. These ad groups had different keywords associated with that ad group and different ads associated with that ad group. So you can see very quickly that the airport service was one that performed very well. We had a 360 clicks over to the website. Impressions was the number of times that ad was shown. And your CTR, this is very important if you're taking notes. Your CTR is your click-through rate. That was 3.56%. 8.10% for private service, 8.79% for chauffeur. They also had an app you could download that we were marketing, didn't perform as well, 1.48%. So if you look at the car app, that ad was shown 541 times and it was clicked 8 times. So that's why it's, if for those on the call that, you report to a supervisor, you report to a board of directors, I know it's a challenge to explain what's going on in the back end of marketing, right? So if we tell whoever you're reporting to, or if I tell a client, hey, you got 74 clicks over the past 2 weeks to your ad, there's nothing to compare it to. Like, that sounds good. Is it good? I don't know. So what we look at is really your click-through rate percentage. And I'm going to give you some averages here in a bit. But this tells us, okay, a high click-through rate, that means you're targeting the right people. You have great copy in your ad. It's performing very well. And then you can see what your average cost per click is. So $1.55, $1.39, $2.17. You can see what that total cost was for that ad group. So all in total, between all these ad groups, a little under 500 clicks and a 4% click-through rate. We're spending $1.60 per click. We spent just under $800 for this campaign. Okay. Now there's so many other like columns and different metrics to look at, but the one I want you to start with is look at clicks, impressions, click-through rate, cost per click, and your average cost. Average click-through rate for Google search is 1.91%. Now this could continue to change a little bit. Anything above 2% is considered above average. So you can see, wow, a lot of these achieve way above average. So anytime we're running a campaign on, social media or Google, clicks, yes, that's important to look at. Impressions, yes, that's important to look at. But it's that click-through rate percentage because that compares the two. Again, if you run an ad that was shown 800 times and you had 600 people click it, incredible. But if you had an ad that was shown 800 times, that sounds great. But if you only had 12 clicks on it, something's not right. You're not targeting the right people. The messaging's not right. Your budget's not right. Something's off with that ad. Okay. Average click-through rate for Google Display is 0.35%. Seems low, but again, these are just benchmarks average. You could drill into this deeper if you want, and you could type in average CTR on Google search for restaurant industry, for service-based business, for hospitality. These are blended averages. Online, you can certainly find averages for your specific industry, which is really nice to keep in mind. Okay, Google Smart Campaign. So again, we talked about audience, Google search, Google display, a little bit about metrics. Now, going back to Google search, I mentioned earlier that there's kind of two different options. You have this very advanced expert account, and then you have this account that is this entry level account called Google Smart Campaigns. And Google Smart Campaigns, this allows you to quickly create an online ad fast. You only pay, again, only pay when someone clicks the ad. You still have a lot of the same settings that we talked about earlier with the main Google ad account, but you're a little limited on options, right? You won't be able to put in as many headline options or negative keywords. So again, it's very very simple. I mean, you can get your ad running in probably less than an hour with Smart Campaigns, or 30 minutes within Smart Campaigns, because it's so structured. They don't give you a whole lot of options to pick from. They just want you to get off and running, give them a budget, give them some keywords, and they kind of take it from there. Effective, but if you really want to be in control of everything and really learn the back end of Google, that's where you're going to go. And I can quickly show you, if we have some time, where to go to get to Smart Campaigns versus Google Ads. Okay, we're not going to go through all of these, but this is just for reference for later. If you do download the PDF, these are just some basic terms that you're going to see when you get into setting up your Google Ad account. Keywords, bid, quality score. Quality score, basically, when you see that, what that means is it is looking at the website that you're sending people to. So the example earlier, if I am searching for running shoes and I land on a page that really isn't relevant to running shoes, my quality score is going down. What's nice too is that Google helps create a fair playing field. So if you have a competitor that has 3 times the budget than you do, there's still a chance that your ad could show up a little bit more than they do. Just because you have more money to spend doesn't mean that they're going to show that ad more. At the end of the day, we're a customer of Google, and I would say, what, 90–95% of us on the call, we all use Google for our search. Why is that? Google has this down to a science. We find what we're looking for all the time within the top 3 results because of their algorithm, because of the systems they have in place. So someone could say, oh gosh, I have $10,000 to spend on Google. But if their ad isn't written well, and if they have a low quality score and their website's not great, yeah, Google's still going to show them because they need to make money, but they may not show them as much. So that's where that quality score comes into play. Ad rank, cost per click, conversion, etc. We talked about coming up with different campaigns, different ad groups. This kind of gives you a little example of breaking this up. So let's say if we're kind of a craft store, one campaign could be about knitting and sewing. But even within knitting and sewing, you have maybe different things that you market: yarn, needles, fabric and embroidery. Those all will have separate ads, separate keywords. Campaign 2 could be kids crafts, and then all the different types of crafts that you offer in that campaign. So again, if you're using the main Google Ad account, this is just a way to help break things up. The retreat center, for example, they do a lot of corporate retreats, team building retreats, but they also do a lot of personal retreats, whether it's an individual looking to get away or a couple. So in that case, they kind of have 2 different ad groups. They have corporate and personal, different keywords, different ads for each one of those. We talked about the different match types. Again, that screenshot earlier, just giving you some little definitions here at the end. If you're interested in strengthening your skills on Google, and maybe some of you are marketing professionals, you can actually get certified in Google. I am specifically certified in Google Search. There's tests and quizzes that you can take online, and you can get certified, which is really cool. So they kind of give you the best practices and definitions and certain things to help you strengthen your overall knowledge in the platform of Google. So we have about 5 minutes left. I know that was a ton of information, and it is sometimes hard to go through everything that we want to cover in about 45–50 minutes. But I hope this was helpful to at least paint a picture of how Google is structured, what the options are in Google when it comes to search and display, what to look for when you're looking at your metrics, But at the end of the day, the best way to go about this is to simply practice, to simply watch some videos, to go ahead and maybe create a campaign. Don't be nervous at all. Just make sure to take your time and walk through it. Don't launch anything if you're not ready to launch anything. You can get everything drafted and even call Google to see, hey, could someone help me with my Google account? Or I have some questions on these things. I do want to advertise on your platform, and they can certainly help you with that. So at this time, I'm going to hand this over to Jordan to see if we have any questions, and we can go from there.
Great, thank you, Scott. Right now, we do have just a couple questions submitted. So if you have any, please feel free to put those in the chat. The first one is, instead of directing to a website, can you direct to a Facebook page?
Ooh, that's a great question, actually. I don't know. I don't think you can. Let me do a quick search here. No, you cannot. It does have to be a website. It does
Okay.
have to be a website. Now, I will say, if you don't have, am I frozen?
You were frozen. It's just black for me now, so I'm not sure if you're still frozen for other people, but we can hear you.
Okay, great. No, you do have to point to a website, and if you don't have a whole lot of money to spend maybe to develop a website, I certainly recommend everyone have a website, right? Because this is how you show up on Google. But Google offers like a free website builder that you can get a very simple website built if you just want something simple. GoDaddy has a very nice website builder that you could look into. But no, to answer that question, you do have to have a website to advertise on Google. This is where you're pointing people to.
Okay. The next one says, does Google rank you higher in organic ranking if you also run ads or have run them recently?
No, they do not. Good question, though. However, it is also very important to make sure the one thing Google does look for, there's so many things that Google looks for, and we'll certainly, Jordan and I will maybe plan a SEO webinar later in maybe Q2 or Q3 of this year. Your Google Business Manager account. That is one that I certainly recommend you use entirely. You're uploading photos, you're using every tool possible on that tool can help with rank. But no, there's no correlation of if you advertise, we're going to rank you higher. Google keeps those pretty separate.
All right, and then the last one we have submitted right now says Google versus Facebook advertising, which is preferred?
Great question. That is really dependent on who you're looking to reach. If you're new in the market and you really need to maybe storytell and explain who you are and what you do and what's behind your business, Facebook could be great as long as you understand who your audience is, because this is where you're going to market towards people with certain targeting settings, right, between these ages, who have an interest in these things, etc. But if maybe you're already established, you're not really looking to grow your Facebook page, or really to maybe looking to grow certain sales, or you want to increase leads. I like Google because, again, unlike Facebook, they are actively searching for something that you have to offer and you want to show up. Whereas on Facebook, they're just on the couch scrolling, and they may come across your content and say, huh, I didn't know that, or I should look into that. But again, they're not in that active buying mindset. So they both have their advantages. But again, what I like about spending money on Google is that we're getting in front of people who, in that moment, are looking for something that you offer.
Awesome. And that's also a great transition. Our next session with Scott is unlocking Facebook and Instagram ads later this month. So I'm going to drop that registration link in the chat in case anyone would like to attend that one after attending this one.
Great. Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah. It looks like we've answered all of the questions, just some thank yous. Scott, we have one attendee, Lauren, from the library, who would like to mention she loves your Legos in the background that we could see earlier.
Thank you so much. I love Lego. No, it's my tree house and the new A-frame cabin. So I grew up, that's kind of how I got, in that kind of creative field is through Lego. And so these are some of my two favorite sets behind me. So yeah, sorry my camera went out, but yeah, it's the tree house and the A-frame cabin. So thank you, Lauren.
Perfect. Yes, and since this camera did go out, if you missed those, you'll see them in our next session if you join
You
us.
will. So yeah, exactly. If you want to see some Legos, join us for our next session.
But we did catch up on all of our questions. So I want to thank Scott for presenting today and thank everyone for joining us and remind our attendees you will receive a follow-up email later today with the information from today's session as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you all so much for joining our first webinar of 2024. I hope to see you all on our all of our upcoming webinars. We have some incredible topics lined up. So thank you again. And thank you, Jordan and the SBDC for making today possible.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.